Can't stop, 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 stop. Move, move, move. This your jam, this your jam. Feel your soul, this your groove. Can't stop, 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 stop. Move, move, move. This your jam, this your jam. Feel your soul, this your groove. And I know.
We're going to talk about all the quarterback free agency frenzy. I had this on the list to do for the first podcast, but I did not get an opportunity to do that. We had too much to talk about. So I'm going to go team by team, talk about their quarterback situation, and maybe try to find a good fit on out of the list of projected quarterback free agents. This is not going to include the kids drafted, although I'll probably mention at least the top few. So first of all, the Bears have the number 1 overall pick. If I were the GM, you're the worst team in professional football. That's why you have the first draft pick. Actually, they accumulated it from a trade from the previous season, but the Bears were, if not the worst record, I don't remember all the records, they were a bottom feeder team last year. And I think that they won 3 games, maybe 4. I honestly don't remember. Highest form of intelligence is knowing what you do not know. I really don't know. But I know they were fucking horrible. And they weren't fun to watch. I mean, unless you like watching the quarterback run for more yards than he passes, or even scoring 30 points on offense but giving up 58 on defense. If that's what you're into, the Bears, that's your show. But the Bears, either way, they had the number 1 overall pick. From a trade, they would have been the top team either way because they're horrible. If I were their GM, I would recognize that my quarterback is probably, definitely not the only reason that we went 4-13. Don't hold me to it. 4-13, I believe. If your team went 4-13, your roster is bad. Your backups are bad. You got bad deals. Salary cap's probably misused, underused. There's a whole lot of things that go into building an NFL roster. It's not an individual sport. The quarterback is by far the most important position on the field, bar none. Nobody is arguing that. Nobody's arguing that. But when you start talking about being a piece away, then we can start talking about using that top pick on a quarterback if you think that you have everything but the quarterback. Who's in that spot? Hard saying right now. There's some really good teams out there who just, if they had a quarterback, they would be contenders. They really would be. But if I were the GM of the Bears, I would trade that number 1 overall pick for as many draft picks as I could possibly get for the same draft. I would not trade that number 1 overall draft pick for future picks. They can be included, but I would want at the very least, depending on how it's structured, we would obviously flip first round picks. If we gave you the number 1, we would get your number 2 through 32, wherever you fall. We would get that. Depending on that number, how far down we're falling in the first round, that would be followed up by a second round. And if you're somebody who's accumulated multiple, I would want 2 second rounds. If I'm falling all the way back to 32, let's say. Okay. If I'm only moving from 1 to 4, I would still want at least a second round. But I would want to build up. Give me 2 fourth rounders if you got them. Your third. Give me 2 of your sevenths if you've got extra of those. I would trade Justin Fields for as many picks as humanly possible for this year's draft so that I can help reconstruct my roster. That's going to do multiple things. That's going to free up a shitload of cap space because you're going to have a lot more rookies that you've now drafted higher, and you're going to be expected to keep them. You're probably going to want to keep them. If you go 4-13, your roster's probably fucking bad, and they've got a good shot of making the team anyways. Okay, that's what I would do. Number one, I would keep Justin Fields, and maybe use one of my 6th or 7th, 5th, just depending on how the draft falls. I would use a later pick on a quarterback that I felt fit my coaching staff. That's what I would do. But I would go get another weapon. I would go get more protection on the offensive line. I would go get edge rushers. I'd go get corners, DBs who could play, that are versatile. They can play man-to-man, yada, yada, whatever. I would be building pieces on the team. Okay? So the top free agents that are available, that would be something to look into as well. If you're the Bears and you're looking to replace Justin Fields, go get somebody who maybe is similar, who has a similar style of game, but that's an older veteran that you can have come in, and you can have them mentor Justin Fields. I'm looking at some of the guys on this list. Russell Wilson. He is a very mobile, agile, at least in his prime. He was a very slippery quarterback who could get outside the pocket and make different things happen, like Justin Fields can, except for Justin Fields, just like young Lamar, just like young Michael Vick, he panics, looks to run. He's not moving to look for a pass. That's like Patrick Mahomes. That's what he's doing. That's what Lamar Jackson's trying to do now. I would go get Russell Wilson as a vet and try to see if he can get Justin Fields to step his game up. Russell Wilson is going to be expensive, though, because he still owed money, a big contract from Denver. So maybe by going and getting all these rookies, if you do what I suggested, and you can free up some cap space by having more rookies, maybe you can go get Russell Wilson. But you'd have to start him, no doubt about it. If you're looking for somebody else who's going to be a cheaper veteran, Tyrod Taylor is a perfect, he's like not all pass, not all run. He's very, very versatile. He can do both. He's just an athletic quarterback. I think that he would be probably the best fit to bring in as a vet to help train Justin Fields. All right, so in the AFC North, you got Cleveland. Cleveland needs a quarterback. Don't talk to me about Deshaun Watson. That deal's fucked from the start. If it's not injuries, it's an off-the-matter thing. I don't hate Deshaun Watson. It's fact. It's just fact. They never should have given him a major liability. A major liability should have never been handed $250 million guaranteed. He had some good statistical years at the Texans, but he's not Aaron Rodgers or some shit. I don't fucking know where that number come from. Whoever made that decision, I hope that they're fired. Cleveland should keep Joe Flacco, number one. They started 6 different quarterbacks, 5, maybe 5, before they landed on Joe Flacco off the couch. Joe Flacco had a horrible game in the playoffs. He threw 2 pick sixes, but Joe Flacco proved to everybody with very little time working with the team that he could come in and just make shit happen. He was top 5 in all passing categories during the time that he started for the Cleveland Browns. So I think that they need to bring him back. They need to try to sell what's left of Deshaun Watson's contract, sign Joe Flacco dirt cheap, and go draft one of these mid-level rookie guys. Not one of the top 3. Maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th best. Is that their first need? I don't think so, but they can find another quarterback in the draft, and Joe Flacco's the perfect vet, the absolute perfect vet to train them as well. Also in the AFC North, you got Pittsburgh. What a shit show in Pittsburgh. They can't throw the ball 2 feet. Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky. A great story with Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett's a hometown kid. I think that he's good, but what happens in the NFL is they force these fucking rookies in too quick, and they expect them to be able to save the day. You know why the Packers were able to go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love? Because they pissed their starter off by drafting another top quarterback during their prime, putting heat on them in practice to perform, number one. But number two, they also put a highly talented rookie behind an all-time vet who could learn everything that they need to learn from the vet while possessing all the skills necessary to go straight in and start. They could have, but they didn't. They forced him to sit behind. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for years. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers for years. They have seamlessly gone from quarterback to quarterback because that's how they do it. CJ Strouds do not happen every fucking year. They never happen, actually. They never. This is a historical thing that's happened with CJ Stroud in Houston. It's unbelievable. To be a rookie force-fed to the dogs like CJ Stroud was and just put your big boy pants up and fucking drop dimes and do the damn thing. I mean, CJ Stroud is an absolute anomaly. Kenny Pickett probably is still, I mean, if his confidence isn't completely shattered, he's probably still pretty good for Pittsburgh. But you got a guy out there named Kirk Cousins, who obviously the shit with the Vikings isn't really working out. If it was just an Achilles tear, we wouldn't be talking about him. Where's he going to go play? Aaron Rodgers shattered his Achilles too, and way earlier in the year, and not once have we heard about Aaron Rodgers getting moved around. Why is it that Kirk Cousins blows out his Achilles, and all we've heard ever since is who's going to be throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson next year? I don't know what the answer to that is. KOC, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, he seems to love Kirk. Captain Kirk seems to love KOC. Something's going on there. Kirk Cousins would be perfect in Pittsburgh. He would be perfect in Pittsburgh. They have weapons. They are shitheads, but they have weapons. And maybe if they were happier, they would be a little less shitheads. But, man, I love Kirk Cousins in Pittsburgh. I really do. In the AFC South, you got Tennessee. Now, I absolutely love the kid out of Kentucky, Will Levis. He's Ryan Tannehill if you froze his body and reincarnated him years later. I mean, they pull up a side-by-side picture. I mean, they almost look alike. Like doppelganger shit. But it's not really an upgrade from Ryan Tannehill except for the age. I mean, he's younger. Unbelievable arm. What I will say about Will Levis that he showed last year is that he can get absolutely kicked in the mouth over and over and over again. And he's going to get the ball out, deliver a catchable ball. And he's got unbelievable toughness. And just the arm talent, the arm strength he's a freak. I mean, you seen him without a shirt on? The dude's a fucking rock. Absolute shredded. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback as jacked as Will Levis. But we'll let the cake bake on that. I have really no opinion there. They should ride with him for now. Indianapolis in the AFC South, Anthony Richardson got hurt. That sucks. He looked like a superstar. He looked like a young Lamar, though. He looked like somebody who didn't see his first read, and instead of going through a full progression with his receivers, first one's not there, shit, I don't know who else is doing what, let's tuck it and scamper. Hence the injury. And he played like 5 games. I think he finished 2 of them. Maybe 1. But I know that of the games that he did start, he didn't finish the majority of those games. The last one where he got hurt for the year, obviously being the worst. But Gardner Minshew is I don't understand other than like Jacksonville drafting Trevor Lawrence, I don't I get that, but I don't understand why Gardner Minshew's been such a journeyman. That dude's a fucking gamer. And he's not the top 10 pick coming out of college and the Heisman Trophy winner. He doesn't come with that big money vibe or whatever, that superstar reputation. But Gardner Minshew's a fucking ball player, dude. And he can manage a game. And he can change a game. He can create his own moments. And he can take a fucking game over. He will also be the reason that you lose 5 or 6 games because, But definitely a great backup. The Colts need to re-sign him. He needs to be Anthony Richardson's backup and mentor. I would keep him. In the AFC East, New England, fuck. I mean, their roster's nowhere built to win now. I wouldn't suggest giving them a top-tier quarterback who's a vet, because a veteran quarterback is going to want to come in and be on a team that he believes he has a chance to win a Super Bowl with, or at least make a playoff run. So I don't think that any of these guys on the free agency list, I mean, Wilson, no. Cousins, no. Mayfield's got to stay in Tampa Bay. I'll make that plain and simple. He found a home, and he needs to be signed to at least a 2-year contract to see if last year wasn't a fluke or not. But he deserves a 2-year at least. Joe Flacco, maybe, because he doesn't really care. It seems like football is just kind of fun to him at this point. So I don't think Joe Flacco would really care. Jacoby Brissett, they tried that before. Gardner Minshew, he needs to stay a Colt. Ryan Tannehill, let's just bring in an older, I don't know. Ryan Tannehill, he's just kind of like a blah quarterback. There's a spot in the NFL for him, but at this point, it's just as a backup. And then the further down this list that you go, Jameis Winston, Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, these are all guys who have had ample opportunity to prove themselves. Tyrod Taylor, Carson Wentz, these guys have all had ample opportunity to prove that they are still. I mean, Wentz won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson wins a Super Bowl. Marcus Mariota, Heisman Trophy winner. Sam Darnold, I believe a Heisman Trophy winner and a number 1 overall draft pick. Jameis Winston, crab stealing, football flinging freak. I mean, that shit that happened in New Orleans where he called his own play, the last play of the season, to get that dude a touchdown, that shit was some comedy, man. I would be pissed if I was a coach, but as a fan, I love that shit. But none of these guys fit in New England. If I'm New England, God, you need so many pieces, but Mac Jones is ruined. I mean, his confidence is shot. Bailey Zappi's a local kid. I mean, I don't know where he's from originally, born and raised, but he went to Western Kentucky. I love Bailey Zappi. Maybe, but, they just need a lot of pieces. So if they are going to try to find the next Tom, they won't. But if they want to, this is a great team to possibly move up in the draft and get a quarterback. Although I do think that you need to build a team kind of first. You're not an attractive destination if you don't have a quarterback. So that's kind of a catch-22 there. If they're interested in solidifying that quarterback spot, they need to move up in the draft because none of these veteran free agents make sense to me. The New York Jets, they've got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a legend. He's an MVP, Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer, probably first-tier ballot Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner. Aaron Rodgers is that dude. He's different. He's special. Fucking sucks that he blew his Achilles out the 4th play of the game. In the event that something like that happens again, their roster is stacked. Their roster is absolutely fucking loaded with talent. If Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, they're golden. But if he goes down again, and you have to bring that poor kid, Zach Wilson, in, man, they have fucking ruined Zach Wilson. I don't know Zach Wilson. I don't know anything about him personally. I'm sure he's a great fucking dude. But they have mishandled that whole quarterback room so badly that if there was a shimmer of hope for Zach Wilson to be anything of that could resemble a starting quarterback in the NFL, they fucking blew it. If there was any part of him that was going to truly pan out, how he was projected to pan out, Robert Salas and their offensive staff they fucked that dude. And I feel for him. I really do. And the fan base in New York is insane. And they have had absolutely, they've not made Zach Wilson's experience any fucking better. That shit was almost as bad as like the Steelers fans going after Matt Canada. And we all know how loud that shit got. They have to, in the event that Aaron Rodgers goes down again, they have to have somebody else in there not named Zach Wilson that can seriously come in and give them valuable minutes. I mean, maybe they didn't know Joe Flacco, the Golden Pony Boy, retired. Dude sitting on his couch was like still able and willing to play. Maybe they didn't know that. But there's so many players in the NFL. There's so many quarterbacks out there. How many times do you have to see the same movie before you understand what the end result's going to be? When they keep rolling Zach Wilson out there, everybody fucking knows what's coming. Find a new face. I honestly, pick one. Pick a vet. Pick somebody who has been around the block and they can handle the New York media. Do not bring in another fucking rookie to back up Aaron Rodgers. Not yet. And if you are, draft him late. If you're going to take one of the top guys in the NFL draft, they have to be third string. Because the rookie cannot be the replacement behind Aaron Rodgers. It has to be a vet. So maybe a fit here is a Sam Darnold. Carson Wentz, actually, I think, I don't really know what the deal is with him. He disappeared. But when he was playing, it's good. Went to Washington. That's where, like, everything goes to die. We've got Denver. They're searching. Sean Payton's kind of come in, like, totalitarianism and just, like, gutted. And, I mean, it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in the water in Colorado. But the second that fucking Dion got to Colorado, he started nutting and gutting the place. That's the same shit that's happening in Denver with Sean Payton. I don't understand what the vision is, but it's not. I don't have to. And nobody's arguing with Sean Payton's, professional career. He's Sean Payton. I hope that he's got a plan, though, because Russell Wilson, in the grand scheme of things, is probably still a top 32 quarterback. So good luck to Sean Payton and his plan. I really can't place my finger on it because I thought Russell was the guy there. I figured he'd get more than 1 year with Sean Payton. Oakland's one of those teams that's close. And maybe the kid that came in late, I think his last name's O'Connell. Hope I didn't fuck that up. I cannot remember the dude's name. But he played good. Sign him. If I'm the Oakland Raiders, I sign him. And they probably don't have a great pick in the first round because of where they finished. I mean, they weren't nowhere near the bottom. But if I'm Oakland, I think I'll roll with who finished the year. And I go draft a top-tier rookie. Them in New England so far, I would put moving up to get a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels. There's two teams so far that I think they should do that. And I'm only saying New England not because they're close and they've got all the pieces. I'm only saying New England because they're fresh off of Tom Brady. And that fan base is like yearning. I mean, they desperately need to feel comfortable at the quarterback position again, and I get that. If I'm Robert Kraft, I get that. That's the only reason there. Oakland, I feel like, is close. And they have a serviceable quarterback for now. Go get a top rookie, and let's have a quarterback battle. Detroit and the Rams, Goff and Stafford are phenomenal. Aging, they need to find somebody young late in the draft. That's all I'm going to say there. They need to go find somebody young in the draft late. And Stafford and Goff still have a good 2 or 3 in them. Create a Green Bay type of seamless structure where you go from one to the next. Go ahead and get your guy this year. Later, not a top one. Later. Minnesota, if you are going to get rid of Captain Kirk, I don't understand it. But if you are, your team's not bad. Your team's not bad at all. You would also be a candidate who could probably, for moving up to get a top tier quarterback, one of those top 3. And I say that because it's not a shitload of pieces that they really need. No team's perfect. Everybody needs something. But Josh Dobbs wasn't the answer. He looked, the Pastronaut, I love the nickname, the Pastronaut, looked like he was going to be the answer there for a minute. Short-lived, fun story, cool to tell. Clearly not the guy. But I would say keep Kirk. If not, go up and get a top guy, because you can trade some draft picks and get away with not having as many draft picks in order to go get a top rookie talent. Chicago, already talked about them. Atlanta needs to move to a heavy run-based offense, which I don't understand why they weren't, because Arthur Smith is a brilliant offensive mind, and he is geared towards blocking schemes and running schemes. Arthur Smith is very, very good at designing blocking schemes to create a rush-heavy offense. I don't understand for the life of me what happened with Bijan last year. I will never understand why Bijan did not get as many carries and the workload that he should have. I don't understand it. But they just need a facilitator. They have 2 pretty decent weapons, but that's not a team that needs to go West Coast style and 4 and 5 wide and spread, throw the ball over the yard like Matt Ryan did. That Atlanta Falcons team that's past. That moment's past. So they need to go get somebody who is athletic, who can work off a play action. Maybe Mariota wasn't the answer, but maybe you go get a Tyrod Taylor or a Russell Wilson or Jacoby Brissett, and maybe see how they do. Or go get Gardner Minshew. Seems to be doing all right in Indy. If AR can stay healthy, they don't really need him. If Gardner Minshew believes he can start, give him a shot. New Orleans, they just need to find a young replacement for Derek Carr. Derek Carr, again, he's like the Rams and the Lions. He's probably got 2 to 3 years left in him, like Goff and Stafford. They just need to go get a younger quarterback later in the draft to back up Derek Carr. If they want to go give like Sam Darnold, Jameis Winston was just in New Orleans. I don't see that happening again. But go get a Sam Darnold if you want a veteran, a Carson Wentz if you want a veteran. But just go get a young dude late in the draft who can sit behind Derek Carr and learn. Carolina's got Bryce Young. He is the prime example of what happens when you force fucking rookies into the fire. The shit doesn't work very often. The kid can play quarterback, no doubt about that, even though he's 5'6". He's not 5'6", but he's very short. If you look at him behind his offensive lineman, I don't understand how he fucking sees. I really don't. I don't understand how the kid can see. He'll probably get better. Again, veteran. Get somebody to lead that can show him the way. He's trying to learn how to be an NFL quarterback on his own. He has nobody in there to show him what's what. Who's supposed to teach him that? Adam Thielen? Adam Thielen was brought from Minnesota to be their vet in the locker room. Adam Thielen's not a quarterback coach. He's not an NFL quarterback. He can be a good leader, but he can't properly show Bryce Young how to be an NFL quarterback. They just need somebody like that. Bryce Young can stay the starter for all. I don't give a fuck either way, but that he needs a veteran quarterback. Washington, they're horrible. I mean that's where people go to die. It used to be the Jets. They've kind of turned it around. But Washington's where everything goes to die. If I was a top quarterback, I would not want to go there at all. Although I will say, if you get drafted, that's every kid's dream to be drafted. If you are drafted by them, Eli Manning turned out all right, but Eli Manning turned out okay. Somebody else that did that, I'd hate to say the wrong name, but there was another Hall of Fame quarterback that did the same thing. I want to say it was a 49er, either Steve Young or Joe Montana. Maybe I'm wrong. But Eli Manning did do that. And it just makes you look like kind of a pampered bitch a little bit, It's what you work for your whole life. Be excited to be drafted and be a millionaire and be a part of the very, very small fraternity that is NFL players, the 1%ers. But man, it would be really, really hard. It would be really, really hard to fake a smile if Washington drafted you. Washington needs so much shit. They got rid of all their best players, basically. I mean, at this point, Terry McLaurin should just be throwing the fucking ball to himself, or they should just run Wildcat with him, maybe. I don't know. That franchise is fucked for the foreseeable future. They're fucked. The Giants, Daniel Jones is okay. I think that he had 2 really good games or standout games that impressed the Giants enough to sign him to a deal. Then he gets hurt. That sucks. Daniel Jones is probably still a top 32 talent. No question. But Tommy DeVito or whatever, the Italian Stallion or whatever the fuck they're calling him in New York, that story was fun. That story was fun while it lasted. I mean that. It came out sarcastically, but I do mean that. The kid got his moment, not the answer. There's enough tape now not the answer. They just need to go get a quarterback maybe a little earlier, maybe like 2nd or 3rd round, just in case. Just in case something happens with Daniel Jones again. Moving us to the NFC West, our last division to cover. Seattle, re-sign Geno. Keep Geno Smith as long as humanly possible. And move up and get one of these top guys. And I say that because they're going to need all the help that they can get basically on the offensive side of the ball. They're not really... DK Metcalf is a superstar freak athlete. Tyler Lockett is the most consistent just possession slot, gonna give you 100 some odd catches a year. Get 10 targets a game. But everywhere else on the offense, they're kind of mid, and I think what makes that train roll is Geno Smith. How much of that was Pete Carroll? We'll find out. We'll find that out. But go get somebody else because Geno Smith, he's on a ticking clock as well. But your team is still good enough. You've got enough good pieces, especially with DK and Lockett, to make some shit happen. You cannot allow something to happen to Geno or for him to fizzle out earlier than expected and not have a backup plan. I don't know who their backup quarterback is, but I would move up and go get one of these guys. Finally, the Arizona Cardinals. Again, I mean, the chicka boom. explosion, like whatever the shit that Gannon did with with that new player, or with that player that he met in the locker room, like the whole game, like that shit alone, for me, I was like, this dude's fucking weird. But Kyler Murray's, I think that story's come to a close. I don't realistically seeing the Arizona Cardinals rebuilding a team to get back to the Super Bowl like they were just about a decade or so ago when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't see them being that close at all to that at all. And I don't see Kyler Murray being the answer. If they do fill all the pieces, Kyler Murray being that guy at the helm that can take you to the top. I don't see that. So, and I don't even know if he's like the best guy where like it would justify going and drafting one of these top talent guys. Excuse me. I'm not sure that Kyler Murray's the guy where you can go and draft Caleb Williams. Say just keep him on the West Coast. Let's say they go get Caleb Williams. I'm not sure from based on what I've seen that Kyler Murray's the vet, the proper fit that's going to lead Kyler Murray, take him where he can't get himself. I don't know if that guidance from Kyler is going to take a Caleb Williams to the next level. So with Arizona, I lean more towards fill spots because God knows they have a shit ton of holes to fill. And go get a serviceable vet. Go get a serviceable vet. There's plenty of them out there. That's what I would say. So that's my view. That's a full breakdown of every single team that needs a quarterback. I don't need to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't need to talk about the 49ers. I don't need to talk about the Dolphins. Don't need to talk about none of those teams. They're fucking good. If I didn't mention the name, if I didn't mention the team, they're fucking good for the next 5 to 10. If everything goes well, they're good. So that's who I did not mention. All right.
A big old Benz truck. I ain't gon' stop, I pop my roof, I ain't giving my mans up. And I ain't get shot by cops that shoot no little handguns. Big old Benz, big old Benz truck. Big old Benz, a big old Benz truck. I ain't gon' stop, I pop my roof, I ain't giving my mans up. And I ain't get shot by cops that shoot no little handguns. Big old Benz.